If you've got an Onn Roku TV black screen, and that's usually because of a backlight failure, but it could also be because of a power board failure or a main board failure or any other failure within the TV, or even a software gremlin itself. So in this video I'm going to cover every fix from simplest to most complex. If your Onn Roku TV is either just not coming on at all, so you plug it in, there's no light flashing, there's nothing appears on screen, or if you're getting a light flashing and the backlight is powering up but nothing's on screen, or if you're just seeing the splash screen then that's going to a black screen. So every type of black screen should be covered by the fixes in this video. So I'm going to start with the simplest fixes, which are software related. And you should always just start by power cycling your TV. So it's a basic step, but it's very quick and easy to do, and particularly if you've kept your TV plugged in permanently, then power cycling can fix it. So make sure your TV is switched off and then unplug it. Hold down the physical power button for at least 15 seconds, and then wait for at least 30 minutes for any residual power to drain from your TV's capacitors, and then plug it back in and switch it on again. If you get any kind of response from your TV, so you've got a light flashing or it seems to start coming on, then that's a good sign. In that case, just try removing all of the HDMI connections and making sure that there's no devices controlling your TV that are causing the problem. So you should only have the power cable going into your TV. And you also want to just remove any smart plugs and surge protectors in case of a fault within them not providing the required voltage for your TV, which is resulting in the black screen. So plug your TV directly into the wall socket, and you can use a different socket if you want to be extra thorough. You can also finally just try finding the reset switch on the back of your TV. So pretty much all Onn Roku TVs have got a reset switch on the back or the side near the HDMI ports, and you just need to push a little paper clip or pencil or something into that socket with the TV switched on, hold down that reset button for about 10 seconds, and then try your TV again. And that will factory reset your TV. If you've still got a black screen on your Onn TV, then the next step before opening it up and looking at the hardware is just trying the flashlight test. So get a flashlight or switch on the light on your phone, and then switch your TV on as best you can. So plug it in and press the power button, and then try bringing up the on-screen menu on your TV using your remote or a device over HDMI, and then point your phone or your flashlight directly at the screen, really close up at an angle, and see if you can see faint images on your screen. If you can see faint images, then that means that you almost certainly have a backlight failure. If you can't see faint images, but you can see that the backlight is powering up, so the screen appears to be glowing, but it's still black, there's no signal, then that usually means that there's either a main board or a T-con failure. If you're seeing nothing at all, you get no response from your TV, then it's most probably a power board failure, but it could be anything within the TV. So the next step is just open your TV up based on the information you've got from the flashlight test and have a look at the relevant components inside your TV. It's pretty easy to open TV up, so you'll need to, first of all, just make sure it's drained of power so you don't get any electric shocks. So unplug it, hold down the power button for 10-15 seconds, and then just wait 30 minutes just to make sure all the power's drained. Then put your TV face down on a soft surface and look for any screws around the back panel. Some models will just have little plastic clips holding the back panel in place, but there'll likely be a few screws, and some of the screws can be hidden away, so if the back panel is not coming up easily, just make sure you've got every single screw. and then the back panel should easily just peel off. You'll likely have some other tape and some chassis components inside your TV just protecting the boards, and they'll all need to be taken off as well. It's a good idea just to keep every type of screw together in maybe a little plastic bag and mark what those screws are used for, so that when you're putting your TV back together again, you're not going to have any leftover screws. When you've got your TV open and you've got all the chassis components off, you should see 3 boards. Their sizes and positions can differ depending on the model, but you'll pretty much always see these same 3 boards. So you'll see a main board, which is the logic for your TV, and it's where your HDMI cables and other cables plug in. And that has a connection going to the T-con, which is then connected by 2 ribbon cables to the panel itself. So the signal gets processed on the main board and sent to the T-con, where it gets translated into a signal that the panel can read. And both of these and all the other components inside your TV will be plugged into the power board, which is connected to the power connector, and which supplies the voltage for all of the internal boards in your TV and also to the backlights. If you did the flashlight test and you saw faint images, then you need to just check whether you have a power board failure or a backlight failure. It's almost certainly a backlight failure. Also, if your TV didn't come on at all and had no response, then it's probably a power board failure. So first of all, just have a look at the power board in both of these situations. You can use a multimeter to check the components and to check the outputs for the various connectors. But you'll need your TV plugged in and switched on to do this. And there's a lot of high voltages across the board, so only do this if you're very careful and you know what you're doing. Otherwise, just have a look for any damage to components. So have a look for any bulging capacitors or any burn marks on the board. If you see either of those, then you've almost certainly found your problem and you just need to replace your power board. And you can do that by going onto eBay and just looking at the model number of the power board, which will be printed on the power board itself somewhere. And you find a new one for about $30 and you can easily just replace it. You should make sure that you always use the same model of power board, because a lot of them do differ slightly in the voltages they provide to the components, and you don't want to burn out any other components within your TV. You can also just remove all of the cables connected to your power board and confirm that they are undamaged and that there's no dirt or grime. So if your power board looks fine, you want to just double check that the cables going to the backlight are okay and that they're undamaged. You'll see those, there'll likely be a high voltage sign somewhere on the power board, and you'll see 2 cables leaving your power board and going through the chassis of your TV towards the backlight. If you check the power board and it all looks fine, and you saw faint images on screen, then you know you've got a backlight issue. So the next step is just to disconnect all of the boards and carefully remove them. The T-con board you'll have to remove by flipping the little catch holding the ribbon cables in place, and all of the other connectors should just come out by gently squeezing them. There'll be a lot of other little screws and catches then holding the rest of the chassis in place and keeping the screen secure, so you'll need to carefully remove all of these. Eventually you'll get to the screen, which is very thin and fragile, so make sure you handle it carefully and you distribute the weight evenly and you have somewhere soft to put it. Once you've got the screen out, you should then remove all of the backlight diffuser sheets and you'll then have access to the backlights themselves. You can check whether the problem is with the backlights by using a backlight tester or by using a multimeter and confirming that current can pass across the backlights. If you have individual LED backlights, you can also just get a standard 9-volt household battery or a regular battery, a couple of pieces of wire connected to each terminal of the battery, and make a complete circuit just by testing each individual LED in turn and seeing if it lights up. If you find that some or all of the LEDs don't light up, then just check the connectors between the LEDs and the power board. And if those are good, then you almost certainly just have failed LEDs. So LEDs will fail over time because they will just burn out from heat. If you want to prolong the life of your LEDs in future, then just turn the backlight brightness down in your TV's settings menu. But once you've identified that the problem is with the TV's backlights, then you can just easily remove them, go on eBay, look for a similar TV model, and you'll be able to get a new set for probably about $30, and then just put the new set in and put your TV back together again, and it should work fine. If when you did the flashlight test earlier, you saw that the backlight powered up, but there was no signal on your screen, or you didn't see any signal at all, and you've checked the power board, then the next step is just to check the main board and the T-con for problems. So it's likely that you're going to have to replace one or both of those. To confirm whether the problem is with the main board or the T-con, one good way is just to disconnect one of the ribbon cables connected to the T-con and then switch your TV on and see if you have any picture on half of your screen. You can then disconnect that cable, reconnect the other cable on the T-con, and then see if you have any picture on the other half of the screen. If you get picture on the screen with one of the T-con cables connected, then it's likely that the failure is on the T-con board itself. If nothing changes between having either cable of the T-con connected and your TV is definitely getting power, so the red light is coming on, or you're seeing other signs that it's getting power, then the fault is almost certainly on the main board. But the only way to really check this is with a multimeter. So to recap, if you see faint images when you do a flashlight test on your screen, then you almost certainly have a backlight failure, but you should just double check your power board. If you don't see anything at all, and you get no signs that your TV is receiving power, then you probably have a power board failure. If your backlight is powering up, but you're not getting any signal, so there's no picture appearing on the screen, then you probably have either a main board or a T-con failure. And I've got some other videos that look at how to fix your Onn Roku TV, which you can find on the rest of this channel.